So yesterday was my third expansion appointment at Dr. Ray's, and it actually went really well. I told the physician's assistant that the last two appointments, right after the appointments, I had felt fine, that those weren't instigating the breathing episodes. The breathing episodes were coming a little bit later, or at different times of the week. So I asked her if we could do like a bigger dose yesterday morning, and so she agreed. She thought that we should try, and I also told her that I really wanted to get done with this part of the process before the end of the year. That's what I'm aiming for. So we did 60 cc's yesterday, and it was a little discomfort, just a little bit. It's nothing that I would equate to pain, like it didn't hurt, but it was a different sensation. So with that being the case, if I do 60 cc's from here on out, that means 3 more appointments, expansion appointments, and I'll be done before the end of the year. After that, I'll have a little bit of time to just heal, about 6 weeks, and then I will be going in for the implants. Howdy, welcome back. It is my 5th week of recovery from my surgery, and I realized that in all this time I had not discussed the procedure that I had, and it occurred to me that information like that might be helpful to anybody out there who might be going through something similar or have tested positive for the BRCA2 mutation, or whatever the case may be. I would just like to share what my experience was like and the procedures that I had, and actually the procedures that I am looking forward to, or I don't know if looking forward to is the right way to put it, but that will be in my near future, coming up here in the next few months. So when all of this started, after I had tested positive for BRCA2, I planned on getting the surgery, which I did talk about in my intro video, and this was before I found out that I already had cancer. And so at that time, the surgery that I was going to have is called a prophylactic bilateral mastectomy. Prophylactic meaning preventative, bilateral meaning both sides, of course, and mastectomy meaning mastectomy. And then once I found that I had cancer already, it was no longer considered a prophylactic. The procedure, I actually ended up having 2 different procedures, different cuts, so to speak. There are different cuts on each side. So on the left side, where they did find the tumor, I had what is called a skin-sparing mastectomy. That is where they go in and they take out most of the breast tissue. So they get in there under the skin and just shave it, like just down to the skin. Sounds awful, and it is. And they then take your areola and they take your nipple, and it's a lateral, like a sideways cut, which a lot more people may be familiar with that, having seen pictures or watched videos in the past. Now on the right side, which was found to be completely cancer-free, completely healthy, I did what is called a nipple-sparing mastectomy. So it's the same kind of idea, and they do take out most of that breast tissue underneath the skin. However, they leave the nipple and the areola. They just shave very, very close to the skin and just take out as much of that breast tissue underneath the nipple, but they leave that. They leave it. That ends up being filled out when you start your expansions and your reconstruction phase. Now, as far as the reconstruction phase, if you've watched my last couple of videos, you know that I am currently in the expansion phase. I opted to do immediate reconstruction. There's a number of immediate reconstruction options that you can do. Some people opt to do immediate implants. I didn't go that way because, as it was explained to me by my reconstruction surgeon, there is a certain amount of risk of not to be too morbid, it is morbid, but sometimes your nipple will turn black and fall off. So that imagery did not settle well with me. So I opted for expanders instead. So as soon as the mastectomy was done and the breast surgeon was done, the plastic surgeon comes in and they insert expanders, which are basically like empty implants, basically. And it's got a little metal port that is placed near the surface of, by the skin for easy access later with a needle. And then every week, or like, a couple of weeks after your surgery, weekly or even bi-weekly, I've heard some women go in twice a week for expansions. You go in, they insert the needle, and they pump just a little bit of silicone each time, filling it up, expanding the skin. And that's what that process is until you are done with the expansion. From what I understand, that's generally around 300 cc's, and I'm at 120 right now, so almost halfway there, depending on how much you can put in each time. Like, I was taking some baby steps there those first couple of weeks, but now I'm ready to do about 60 a week. So I will be done in 3 more appointments. Once that time comes, once I'm finished, there's going to be a period of recovery where I don't do anything at all. My plastic surgeon told me it's going to be a wait of about 6 weeks of just recovering, just healing, just kind of sitting at that size. At the 6-week mark, I do go in for, they're gonna swap it over for the permanent implant. So they go back in through the scar that's already there, they open that up, they take out the expander, and they insert the new implant in and stitch you back up. And then after that time, there is a waiting period if you are going back in for nipple reconstruction. So I guess some people are finished after the implant goes in. Some people would be finished at that point. Unfortunately, I'm going back in for another reconstruction. So that would come about 2 months later, or at least that's the time frame that we're playing with. I know some people will wait a little bit longer than that, but I don't see any reason to wait. If I'm good to go, then I want to go ahead and do it. Now, for the nipple reconstruction, I was given 2 options. The first being, what they can do is, if you have a healthy side and a not, the side that's missing the nipple, you can actually take skin from the healthy nipple, graft it onto the one that you're reconstructing, and there you go. And then you tattoo the color around for the areola, and boom, bang, you're done. The other option, which is being recommended for me, is actually on the side that needs to be reconstructed. They gather up that, like the skin, and form it into a nipple shape, and then they tattoo the color on for the areola. So that option is actually being recommended to me because, and I guess I should be thankful, because my healthy nipple is not huge. They only really recommend the first option to women who have, skin to spare on their healthy side. So, I don't know, whatever. I don't really care. I'm just grateful that this is even an option for us these days. Once upon a time, they would just go in and do radical bilateral mastectomies, and women would walk away without an option for reconstruction. And, that was just the way it was. So this whole process has been fascinating, and learning about the reconstruction phase has been absolutely fascinating, and just, I don't know, I think it's crazy cool what they can do these days. So I decided to be a big girl and keep my appointment with Dr. Walsh. I'm at the Samuel Ocean Cancer Center at Cedars. It's a big to-do, guys. Like, I had to have an escort down to this level, and I'm really nervous. But it's It's nice in here. I've got a fish tank and juice and water if I want it, and a private restroom if I want it. Oh, I've seen plenty of these in the last couple of months. Feeling just nervous. On my drive in this morning, I had a thought and I kind of wanted to flesh it out. So this video is going to be a little introspective, not directly related to the BRCA2 or my situation, but it's all connected. I was thinking about, ever since I was little, but old enough to understand that, you know, I was going to become a woman. I kind of had an issue with some of the things, regular things that women have to deal with as they go through life. Talking specifically about, you know, having your period and having babies, gynecologic exams, mammograms, just the regular, like the parts about being a woman that are specifically about being a healthy woman. And I took issue with this early on. And as I've grown older, I realize it's because I don't like being told what to do. I also don't like being told what to believe, but that's an entirely different subject and an entirely different vlog. I don't like being told what I have to do. And throughout my life of not liking this, just feeling like I'm being dragged kicking and screaming into each of these experiences, it's kind of become a fear, almost like a phobia. And my thought was, because of this genetic diagnosis, it's almost been kind of a blessing, because it's forced me to face a lot of things that I didn't want to face. It's forced me to do a lot of things I did not want to do. It's forced me to face my fears. One of my good friends, she has been in the know about this situation since it began. And she always tells me that she thinks what I did was incredibly brave. And I always get a little, I don't know, not weird about it, but it puts me, you know, puts me back a little bit, because I don't really understand that. I don't think it's brave what I did, the surgery, or going to the appointments. I just consider it me doing what I have to do so that I don't die. I don't know that you need to be especially brave in order to face your fears. I don't know that they're one and the same. I do know that I am facing some fears. I'm facing my fears head on. I'm doing what needs to be done. And I'm so scared I want to cry. It's a weird emotion. Just a weird emotional place to be. When you think of bravery, you think of someone with no fear, right? Like a hero. I'm not that.